Over the years, I've been working really hard to build a creative agency. Now my agency is at a point where we're offering videography, we're offering photography, we're offering web design development, app development, you name it, we have it sorted, and we have a huge roster of happy clients. It wasn't always like this though, and I want to give you guys a trip back down memory lane and explain to you guys how I managed to build my successful agency. If you have watched some of my other videos, you'll know that I love to experiment with the look of the videos. I like to change things up. I'm still just not at a place where I'm 100% happy with it, but I'm definitely heading in the right direction. And even in terms of communicating through my videos, I do sometimes have like notes on my laptop and I'll refer to them as I'm making the video. But for this one, I just wanted to create a few bullet points. I've got it here on my phone and they're just talking points. So I want to keep this quite natural and I just wanted to hopefully flow quite well. My agency now is at a point where we're working with some amazing brands such as Acer. We're working with names such as Anthony Joshua. We're working with a lot of YouTubers, influencers, and it wasn't always like this. So if people are in the same boat of kind of wanting to start their own agency and they're wanting to do their own thing, then I hope this video provides that value to you and maybe you can learn a thing or two from the things that I've done and the journey that I've been on. When I first started making videos, it was like not really that common for people to be creating content. Now obviously Instagram's huge, YouTube is huge, but back then in like 2013, 2014, Vine, TikTok, Instagram, they weren't really as predominant as they are now. So me having a camera and rolling up to events wasn't really looked at like a normal thing. So I used to do a lot of charity videos and I've explained this and other types of content as well. I just fell in love with being behind the camera and just being able to shoot whatever I wanted and to be able to document that how I wanted using my creativity. That was such a magical feeling for me and nothing could quite match that. As time went on, I was going out to more and more shoots, more and more events. I was building up my client base. People were starting to know me as that videographer. And it was a really cool feeling because work was just coming in all directions. And I was working with makeup artists one minute, I was working with fashion brands the other minute. And it was just like something different every day. And that excited me so much. But as the client pool grew, I also had clients asking for things that were a little bit different to video production. They were asking for things such as logo design, websites, and I was at this age where I had so much free time and I was like trying to adapt that mindset of, okay, if my client has been working with me for videos for the past 2 years and she wants a website, then I am going to learn what it takes. I am going to do what I can to create this person a website that they fall in love with. And I would literally not sleep until I knew how to do it. So I would be up until 7 a.m. in the morning. I'd be practicing on websites. I'd be practicing logos for my clients. And I literally wouldn't sleep until I knew how to do this thing. And that actually meant that I would be going to sleep at 6 a.m. and then waking up an hour later for school at that point, which probably wasn't the best thing or the smartest decision for me to make, but that's kind of what allowed me to expand my services quite quick. And that attitude I had towards work, even in the sense of videos, if I saw a cool effect or a cool transition, you best believe that I wasn't going to sleep until I knew how to do that. And I feel like that hustle and that motivation that I had at that age, that's what has obviously pushed me quite far to this day. So eventually we were at a point where we had agency that was offering different things. We were doing a bit of design, we were doing a bit of logos, we were doing some videos, some photos here and there. So everything was coming together quite nicely and it was good because when videos got a bit quiet, the websites would pick up, and when the websites got a bit quiet, the videos would pick up, and vice versa. So it just meant that as a creative person, there was always something for me to be sinking my teeth into, and I loved that. It was at this point I said to myself, I was like, if I'm doing all of this, all these different services, and I'm just marketing underneath a production company, the company I had at this point was called AQ Media, and it was a production company, but we would, as I said, dabble into a bit of design, a bit of websites, and it was obviously cool to be able to do that. But then I think after a few years, it kind of dawned on me that, okay, I need to really set something up here. I need to set up some sort of professional agency rather than just a production company, because we're not a production company anymore. So I'd obviously aged a bit at this point. I had made obviously a lot of mistakes. I had learnt loads of things, and I just knew it was the move to do things properly, set everything up properly, have a team, and just go about things the right way. So that, my friends, is when UpVibe was born. UpVibe was born around 3 to 4 years ago now, and I've honestly not looked back since. So we're a 360-degree agency, and what I used to see quite a lot of as well was just people using agencies that were maybe getting a website done, and they just simply weren't happy with the experience that they had, and maybe the agency just disappeared, or maybe they didn't deliver to the satisfaction of the client, or like what they had said they were going to do. Maybe they just didn't do it. And I just knew that not all agencies can be like this. Like, surely there is some good agencies out there, so why can't my agency be one of those? But little did I realize when making this decision, the work was going to swamp in, and I'm only one person with two hands. So I really struggled to kind of like keep up with everything that was going on. So then became the next phase of finding contractors to join my team. This was a long and tedious process. I wasn't the kind of person that would just want to get someone from across the world to make websites for me that didn't look great. But it took a lot of time for me to find people that I could trust, people that I could deliver. Obviously, my clients expected a certain type of thing. They expected a certain type of end product, and I had to make sure I could deliver that, or I was in serious trouble. It took me probably around 8 months to actually find everyone I needed to make this leap into being the full 360 agency that I was claiming to be. And it took a lot of money, it took a lot of wasted time to actually filter through all of the people that I was potentially going to be working with. I had to make them do sample sites for me, I had to make them design logos for me, and I had to just sit through all of these different types of briefs and portfolios that were given to me. And it was a time in my life where it was just flat out, and I'm glad I'd done it, because it meant that I was able to then eventually filter out all the rubbish and find the best people to work with. And then now having those people represent my company is an absolute blessing, and I'm so lucky to be in that position. But if I can talk from experience, when it comes to bringing people into your company, make sure that they are solid, man. Make sure they know what they're doing. Make sure that they're delivering to the same standard, the same quality as you. And although it can be really hard to like start delegating this work to other people, I was such a control freak. When it comes to videos, I still am. I still try to do 99% for myself. But with websites, with design, I was just thinking like, no one's going to be able to do this kind of stuff the way I can do it. But then to my surprise, a lot of these developers were just insane. And some of the guys I was working with, like, they were so clued up on this kind of stuff. They knew so much more than what I knew. And then that's when it clicked. Like, it didn't make sense for me to try stretch myself to the point where I was delivering all these things when I could find someone that literally develops websites for a living every single day of their life and bring them on board my company to deliver to my clients. It just made sense, and it all just clicked. When I started to scale and bring people on board, that's when I think a lot of people tend to mess up. And there's lots of like little traps you can fall into just with your systems, with like how you go about onboarding clients. So from that time, I really wanted to make sure I had everything just bulletproof. So when it came to onboarding clients, when it came to responding to leads, I had systems for everything. Just even like the basic stuff like invoicing tools, and then having a CRM to keep track of customer information. Let's say I have a potential client that's interested in working with me, and then 6 months go by, I haven't heard anything from them. Because of the CRMs and the systems I had in place, I was able to then reach out to these people again and find out how they were getting on in the journey. And most of the time they would come back and be like, look, I still haven't managed to get something sorted. Are you still available? And it would just turn and convert into bookings or like gigs and projects that ended up making quite a lot of money. But my point is, none of that would have been possible if I didn't have those systems in place. I would have forgotten their emails, I would have forgotten their contact information, and I just wouldn't have been able to ever speak to these people again. So having systems in place as you scale your business is just essential. But even to this day, there's still so much that I use when it comes to systems, automations, and just making sure everything runs smooth. For example, when a client pays an invoice, to get an email that thanks them for working with me and thank you for placing their payment, and letting them know when I'm going to be in touch, and just putting the client's mind at ease when they part with all their money, you know. And even just the small things as well, such as When I finish a project, clients getting emails about, you can leave a Google review here. Thank you for working with us. If you need anything else, let us know. It's all these small touches that just really mold together and make such a big impact on your business. So when you are scaling and when you are dealing with more clients, I just think that this is one way that you can really separate yourself from the rest. Because what happens is a lot of companies start to scale, and then before you know it, that personal touch disappears. The person has multiple people working for the company, they've got multiple representatives, and like it's just impossible for you to have that personal approach to everyone. But I have systems that help me still keep that. And most of the time when I'm having meetings, when I'm doing videos for people, when I'm actually carrying out like the requirements for a website and I'm briefing a client on what they might need for obviously their business, it's usually myself that's doing that. And I usually have more people that are just doing the actual day-to-day coding and development and things like that, the things that are more behind the scenes. And I try to be a bit more front-facing, almost like project management, if you will. This works for me because a lot of clients have this trust with working with my brand, and they know if they're dealing with me that whatever they get will be a solid product. I feel like if I could go back, then there's a couple of things I would have probably done a bit differently. One of the main things really was I just felt like I was comparing myself so much to people on social media. I was seeing all of these people just killing it, people that were younger than me. And at this point, I didn't understand that people only really show their best parts on social media. People only show the highlight reel on social media. So they only show the things that they want to show people. They don't show people all the negative stuff, all the bad stuff that happens in their life. So it's very easy to look at that stuff and be like, their life is perfect and mine isn't, which is honestly never the case. And I'm speaking from experience. We need to remember that it's not about the destination. It's about the journey, and it's about like the experience you have getting there rather than just being there. Because once you're there, I'm not saying that I'm there, but as you start to get to a certain point, a lot of your purpose and a lot of like what you do starts to fade away. So that's why it's important to have a good purpose. It shouldn't just be to make good money or to be financially free. It needs to be much more than that. And for me, it was like, if I can have an impact on making brands have cool content online, having the nicest websites in comparison to their competitors, and make people feel good about their businesses, then that's a win in my books. So I think those are the two main ones, is having a purpose and just not rushing to the finish line and just enjoying the journey, building meaningful relationships, because those meaningful relationships will get you so far. Like people talk about, okay, I need the fanciest business cards, I need the fanciest website. Yes, that stuff helps so much. And of course I'm going to say that because that's what I do. But at the same time, these relationships you build with people, that's what's going to get you over the line, and that's what's going to make you succeed. And these relationships, as I said, they need to be meaningful. You need to be able to provide value to these people, help them out from your heart, not for, okay, if I help this person, they might come back to me and use me for this service. Like you want to just genuinely give your arm when you can, you know, and sometimes it doesn't take a lot of work. Like I might have had someone ask me for a bit of advice on, okay, I've got these videos, I need to edit something for my uni project, what's the best way to do it? And half the time I don't know, because they might be limited by their technology or what they have. They might not have a fancy laptop. They might be asking me for things that I don't know much about. For example, I used to get a lot of people asking me about CapCut on the mobile phone for editing videos, and I just haven't used CapCut enough to know how that all works because I use professional softwares on a computer. But then I would still do my research and just still provide some sort of value to the person, because the next time that they're looking for some creative work to be done, who are they going to go to? They're going to obviously come to me because I've provided that value from the beginning. And it's came from my heart, and they've seen that. If you're just starting out, it might feel almost impossible these days to like establish yourself, to like grow your brand and to get clients, but don't give up. Just keep working hard, keep delivering great products. And what ends up happening is happy clients will know other clients, and then they'll refer those clients to you. And it's just a spiral effect, but that's not going to happen if you aren't delivering to the best of your capabilities. And also, don't be scared to randomly just message your businesses on Instagram. I used to do it all the time, and I still do it. And I'll message them and I'll be like, look, my name is such and such. I make videos in Glasgow. If you guys need any help with this type of thing, then let me know. It doesn't need to be anything super salesy. It just has to be natural. Sometimes I'll arrange just to have a coffee with a local business owner and just see what they're doing and how I can potentially help them. And sometimes I might even meet them and I can't help them, and maybe they've got an amazing website, maybe they've got fantastic videos, and maybe they don't really need my help. And in that case, I've still got someone else in my network, and you just never know when you might want to utilize that. And also remember, not everything you do has to be for clients. Like, you can do your own stuff. You can create some portfolio websites. You can create some videos. You can create some stuff that's not necessarily for anyone else other than you. And then you have the flexibility to organize it how you want. So if you're amazing at shooting with cars, but you just don't have any clients to obviously pay you for filming cars, then get your friends' cars, make videos of those, make some nice edits, act almost like it's for a brand and post it. And you'd be so surprised to see like what sort of things can actually come from that. I hope this video gave you a little bit of insight into my life and what I've done, and maybe how you can incorporate some of these things into your business and potentially your agency, as you obviously continue to grow and as you continue to scale. I'm not in any way saying that I've made it. I'm still working hard, I'm working harder than ever, and I've got a lot of things that I want to do as well with my business. I've got a lot of goals and targets that I've not even hit yet, but the whole point of these videos are just to try to provide a little bit of value, and if you guys can take something from it, then I love it. If not, I'm sure maybe one day I'll be able to make a video that will be able to help you as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.